Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Business obstacles to go. Tinubu assures investors. Explosion rocks Rivers House of Assembly complex. Naira pressure eases on $10 billion Forex inflows prospect. Illegal fishing a threat to blue economy. Boats with 100 on board capsizes in Taraba. NLC threatens boycott of today's review meeting with federal government. Why Modular refinery operators can't access bank loans. Okay, which story are we starting with? Do I do the major headline?
Okay, go ahead.
So, our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yesterday met with the visiting German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz. He was speaking yesterday and saying that far-reaching economic reforms are being undertaken by the federal government to provide enabling environments for return on investment for all who are working with Nigeria. He is specifically saying that he's friends with Olaf Scholz and that he's hoping that they, who are the biggest economy in Europe, working with Nigeria, which is the biggest economy in Africa, can do great things to build the economy of both countries. Scholz in Nigeria, first leg of his African tour was visiting Nigeria first, which is great. From here, he's going to Ghana. And the two leaders had a meeting, and then they just discussed all the various partnerships, that he has removed all the obstacles that he could possibly have in investment, that he's inviting him and various investors within Germany to come to Nigeria and work, and every single issue they might have has been eased out for them so they wouldn't have any obstacles going forward. He said you might also read that we've removed subsidy, but going through a tax reform to eliminate double taxation and give you better returns on investments, thereby you ensure investments are protected. So we'll see how that goes.
Yes, so today NLC is supposed to be having a meeting with the federal government and Labour to review the Memorandum of Understanding signed to prevent the October 3 planned strike. And they are saying that this meeting is threatened. So the NLC President, Joe Ajero, said yesterday that if the Labour Minister, Simon Lalong, shows up at the venue, his people will boycott the meeting. Oh. And, I will give the reasons later. And he also said that the meeting is held at the Office of the Chief of Staff to the President. And, this is also reaffirming there's also a planned strike that will be happening in Imo State starting from 1st, which is a Wednesday, over unpaid wages and other alleged anti-labor practices. But we heard now that the National Industrial Court in Owerri issued an extended interim injunction restraining Labour from embarking on the strike. So the presiding admin judge also was the one that adjourned the meeting till Friday so that they will have a hearing in court in terms of a settlement. But NLC is accusing Simon Lalong of plotting to thwart the agreement reached with the federal government. And one of the agreements that is in question is the resolution of the crisis rocking the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW. And NLC is accusing the minister of siding with a faction of the NURTW leadership. And they are saying that if this meeting holds today and he shows up, they are going to be boycotting the meeting. They also accuse him of other things, that he's not really involved in what the federal government is planning to do for them. So there's no need for him to show up in that meeting. And if the meeting doesn't hold properly today, that means from 1st, which is on Wednesday, there will be a nationwide strike.
Okay. Any other story in Nation?
Yes. We've always been concerned about why modular refineries are not working. A lot of license had been given out for a few years now, and the modular refinery operators have decided to publicize why they have been unable to access the loans they need to be able to function properly. They are an executive member group of the Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria. And they told the nation yesterday that banks are hesitant to finance the operations. The PIA bill was meant to make it easy for people to be able to enjoy, for us to enjoy the benefits of the fact that we produce crude oil, but it hasn't fully kicked in. And the crucial part is if the NUPRC, that's the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission, doesn't give them a document guaranteeing that there will be supplied crude oil, the banks will not give them funds.
Yeah, you have to formalize them properly.
And those people are not willing to give them a guaranteed document saying, we'll give you the crude oil you need. So they won't get them. They're not assured of getting crude oil. Also, they're not assured of getting crude oil in naira. So Nigeria wants to sell crude oil in dollars to local Nigerians that want to refine in Nigeria. It cannot work. So where would they get the dollar from? So there are a lot of policies that the PIA, on paper, looked amazing. We all celebrated it. Sadly, 2 years after, we still haven't fully implemented it. And we have many people who have paid to get the license to put up crude oil in Nigeria. I mean, refineries in Modular refinery in Nigeria. They put their money into it, and yet they are not guaranteed from the government side what
So we'd like to hear from the government exactly what's delaying this. Let's move on quickly now to the Punch. Labour blames government officials and meets federal government today. Picture here: German Chancellor visits Tinubu, gives ECOWAS it's 1 million euros for security and others. Lagos visits demolition of Ikoyi structures near drainage. Importers return to parallel markets as Naira rebounds. FG seeks speedy delivery of Turkish attack helicopters. Afrexim Bank, Fidelity Bank, and John Vett seal $40 million cocoa deal. And challenging PNID fraud saved Nigeria $15 billion, says Buhari. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Yes, so the Lagos State government will today begin removal of perimeter fences within 2 meters of drainage channels on the Norman Williams, Awolowo and Ribadu roads in the Ikoyi area of the state.
Hey, Norman Williams.
The Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources says that the exercise comes after the expiration of the grace period that has been given to property owners in the affected areas. And they are so, they said that the level of compliance has been poor, since they give them that grace period. So they have to go ahead in demolishing those perimeter fences on those drainages.
Tornado Wahab. We said Orike Wike in Lagos. We have Tornado Wahab is the one that is getting our waterways.
That's like near that Glover area. That's
like the cream de la cream.
That's the height of the
expensive of the
That's the creamest of the cream. Hey, Uncle Wahab, God is your muscle.
Most expensive real estate in Africa.
Yeah,
probably.
Okay, well, let's.
So because you took my story, I'm going to take another one inside the
German Chancellor.
That's what you took.
But I didn't talk about £8 million. Talk about the £8 million that he's
It's the same thing. It's part of it.
Go ahead.
I've given the story, but I found another one. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, started a market sensitization ahead of unveiling the Iyaloja money, a federal government non-interest loan to be given to market women and petty traders across the country. And, they are going to be paying it to them. So they've earmarked about 109 markets across the senatorial zones in Nigeria. And they'll be paying, I think it's 50,000 naira without any form of interest to be paid back. So they'll pay them and they'll support them. This is one of the plans that the president has to alleviate poverty, especially amongst the vulnerable people. So let's see how this money gets across to them, what they use the money for, and how they're able to pay back.
So Fidelity Bank, I love the fact that the MD is a woman. Director Mrs. Nneka Onyeli Ikpe. And Afrexim Bank with John Vent Industries have signed a $40 million cocoa export deal at the Fidelity Bank International Trade and Creative Connect Health that was held in Houston, United States. According to this public relations officer, they said that the loan will be provided by Afrexim Bank, with Fidelity Bank acting as a local administrative agent. The MD, the managing director, Mrs. Nneka Onyeli Ikpe, said that we're delighted to participate in the tripartite loan signing ceremony. Demonstrates the size of the opportunity in Nigeria cocoa market and its potential to meet the demands of U.S. off-takers. So this deal will be able to create some kind of a pipeline between Nigeria and the U.S. for exportation of cocoa, which is, I think, is enormous for us.
We don't want to export cocoa. We want to export refined,
so
processed.
So that they'll stop cheating us.
Okay, good. But this deal, please, the deal is $40 million deal, and it's going to help us to also have off-takers in the EU, which I think is a good thing. We need the much-needed dollar.
Yeah, anything that brings us
the dollar right now is important.
Sad story still from the Israeli-Hamas crisis. About 10,000 people have died between the civil unrest over the past 3 weeks. According to Hamas, about 8,000 people have died on the Gaza Strip side, including about 3,000 children. And on the Israeli side, 8,400 people were killed and 230 have been kidnapped. The bigger challenge is the fact that it is now taking a new dimension. People within the Gaza area are attacking the UN relief agencies where they have, like, you know, the same way it happens in Nigeria where palliative is being looted. Yes, they've gone to the warehouse in the central town of there, and they have, the place used to store humanitarian convoys crossing from Gaza to Egypt, and they've broken into a lot of the UN relief agency materials, and they've taken most of those things. They took the fuel, medicine, food over the past few days. So it's not just about the fact that there's now the fight happening, but within the places where there might be seemingly peaceful area, they are now even attacking each other within the Gaza Strip. So the UN is asking for help and calling for calm within the areas.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the papers. Moving on now to Daily Sun. Concerns over economy rise. CBN goes after erring banks. FG moves to facilitate speedy delivery of attack helicopters to NAF. Tinubu won battle but must work hard to win the war, says mascot Uzokalu. FG Labour meet over fuel subsidy agreement. NDLA nabs Hong Kong, France-bound businessmen at Abuja airport for ingesting cocaine, heroin. Nigeria crawling but determined to change narrative, Tinubu assures. And reps propose life imprisonment for kidnapping and hostage taking. Okay, which story are we starting with?
NDLA.
Yes,
so
please.
they announced that they arrested 2 businessmen at the international airport in Abuja with consignments of cocaine and heroin. One was going to Hong Kong and France. It was in their belly. So when they were arrested, this scan revealed ingested illicit drug. One of them excreted in detention 72 wraps of heroin. I mean, when we say the word, in fact, I don't know if the paper did it deliberately, but they blurred the word excreted. And then Chidike discharged 49 pellets of cocaine. Chidike claims he's a businessman selling spare parts in Alaba International Market. He was supposed to take this, and they were supposed to give him 3.5 million naira, which he intended to import goods from Hong Kong. Anyway, you know, in the same vein, all across the country, NDLA is doing its job. I just also wanted to highlight the advocacy campaign of the group. They call it War Against Drug Abuse. They said they've continued in equal measure in schools. So they're going to schools, markets, worship places, and other places across the country in the past week. They said they have that town hall sensitization lecture in collaboration with Kano and Jigawa commands of the agency for 108 principals of secondary schools in the Dutse Emirate. So, you know, in places like Ebonyi, secondary schools in Afikpo, you know, different places across the states, in Oyo State as well. So this is the advocacy arm of it, sensitization, bringing awareness to different people. So it's important, you know, as they're arresting them, we're also teaching people and hoping, you know, you catch them young with the right message before they make the mistake of getting arrested as drug mules and drug dealers.
So the House of Representatives is proposing life imprisonment without option of fine for anyone convicted of kidnapping and hostage taking in the country. Now they are saying that if the kidnap or hostage taking results in the death of the victim, the offense shall attract a death penalty. The House is also proposing that any property owner who knowingly allows his premises to be used for kidnapping shall be convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment and the property forfeited to the federal government. The proposals were contained in a bill sponsored by a member representing Ughelli North, Ughelli South, Idu Federal Constituency of Delta, Francis Waive. And it sort of, you know, covered every... So sometimes when we have kidnapping and the person is found, we always focus on the person who had done the kidnapping. But now this bill is covering everything, every aspect. You know, like it works like it's a team, like the teamwork, everybody who's involved in different aspects, whether it's the landlord or whether it's the bank official funds, who exposes the financial details to the kidnapper would also go to jail, and whether the person who is living in the compound who sees or who knows or who suspects and doesn't come out to say anything will also go to jail. So it really covers everything, and it's past the first reading, remaining the second reading. I think people should read up on this particular article and see what this bill is about. Okay, let me take the CBN is beaming its searchlight on commercial banks and gathering intelligence on sanctions and sanctioning those who are hoarding Forex.
I mean, many have seen the artificial demand for, because of these banks are hoarding dollar. According to this report by Daily Sun, the Naira tumbled last weekend to 1,316 to the dollar across the country. And Bureau de Change operators concluding that there's no convincing signs that it's not going to get better. And so CBN is going after many banks, saying that many of them are hoarding this Forex. Sources said that the new generation banks is currently under probe. A substantial amount of Forex has been tucked away in their offshore branches. Bureau de Change operators also accuse the banks of hoarding Forex to sell at cutthroat rates in the future. The hoarding of Forex by banks is fueling artificial scarcity and continued rise in dollar rate against the Naira. Some banks are speculating purchase from the I&E windows, selling for profits in parallel markets. So they're keeping it.
How about our VIPs that have vaults in their house, that they've buried dollars in their... So how do we check those?
So CBN is chasing the ones that he can check under his own jurisdiction, which is the banks.
First of all.
They let EFCC, let other people go and chase the private people, but these banks are under their own purview, and they're chasing them.
Anyway, IPOB is speaking out. Ima Powerful, who is the spokesperson for IPOB, was saying that following the recent exoneration of IPOB by the courts, they are asking the federal government to also remove the label that they feel was misplaced on them, that they are not a terrorist group, they are a pro-Biafran agitation group, and that they are calling on, they always address AU, EU, USA, Russia, Amnesty International, everybody come and support them to get, this is our agitation, we are not a terrorist group, and they're asking that the government should go to court where they have already petitioned an appeal for the prescription to be taken out.
Yes, they won that case last week. High Court Imo State actually had...
has given them...
Yeah, they won that case.
That's necessary.
Federal government might appeal, though.
Yes.
See how that goes, but in the meantime, they need to be given the right name. Moving on now to Vanguard. Let's see how much time we have left. Just a few minutes. Halt. Fall in Naira value, NLC TUC NECA tells federal government. Net foreign exchange inflow falls 54% to $7.29 billion in H1 2023. Varsity lecturer killed in Niger State. In Niger, actually. Oyo government files appeal against removal of Shaun. Tinubu ACF orders mourn as Ohinoyi of Iberaland dies at 95. Fidelity Bank boosts Nigeria's non-oil exports with FITCC Houston. Tinubu to German leader, we want to change weak economic narratives. And Minister of Foreign Missions to Rao over return date. Okay, which story?
The ministers are in Rao over return date. The ministers and foreign missions. The minister
ambassadors and all
yes, the minister for foreign affairs, Ambassador Yusufu Tuga, had said that everyone that is working with the Nigerian missions should be returned back to Nigeria by October 31st. However, the envoys are appealing to our President Bola Tinubu that he should give them till December so that their wards, that their children can write their promotion exams, and consequently streamline the academic challenges that they would be facing for dropping out that they might be facing based on dropping out from the academic year. They are appealing that the president should just give a nod for that extension till December 31st instead of terminating them on the 31st of October, which is, according to the Minister for Foreign Affairs, a sacrosanct date that everybody should come back. And the minister is really, they say, is irked by the envoy. They are irked by the minister's stand to not allow them to stay till December. They feel that he's not being sensitive to their appeal, that they are asking for education, and that it shouldn't have to be a serious showdown, which is what the minister is saying would happen if there's education. I don't know if there's more to the story. Why is the minister insisting? If there's something else going on, because every normal person that reads this story will feel like, let them finish their academic year. But if there's more to the story, the minister should give so that they don't mislabel the ministers being a stickler for rule of law to mean something else entirely.
Okay, let me take the Oyo State government has filed an appeal challenging the court ruling that invalidated the selection and installation of Oba Gandhi Olaoye as a Shaun of Ogbomosho land. If you recall, the court had said it was illegal. The selection process to selecting him was wrong and it was null and void, and they were asked to stop him from being shown. However, the government themselves, that's the Oyo State government, have instituted a filed an appeal to challenge this judgment according to the application for stay of execution pending the hearing of the determination of the appeal defendants applicants against the judgment of the Court of Appeal, Ibadan Judicial High Court. The application is seeking for an order from the court restraining the complainants and others from preventing them from taking any step further, as the judgment is still being on right now. Okay, any other story in Vanguard? Okay, let's move on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story we've not taken. Oyo government appeals Shawun. I just took that story. Nadeko to Tinubu implement APC El-Rufai recommendations on restructuring and power devolution. Boat with over 70 passengers capsized in Taraba. Reps move to give legal backing to artisanal petroleum refineries. CNG vehicles, FG inaugurates Lagos pilot conversion centers. 2 men suffocate inside diesel tank in Kano. I directed Kyari Malami to fight $15 billion payment to PNID, says Buhari. Any story in...
Yes, in Taraba State, they said over 80 passengers capsized in a boat mishap. You know, they said at the time of the report, about 12 people have been recovered by fishermen. Although the police is saying that they do not have an official number of how many people were involved in the accident. But, you know, we'll wait for that. But obviously, it seems like a large number of people. They said that they were on their way from the market, and then midway through the Benue River on Saturday evening, this is when it happened. Attributing it to these people not wearing any life jackets when this happened. Probably also overloading of the boat as well. As you know, this is almost become like a, you know, a regular occurrence in Nigeria, boat accidents across the country. Some weeks ago, we had about 40 passengers that had from Niger to Kebbi State capsized. Last month, 26 people died in a boat mishap in Niger State, while another 15 died in a similar accident in Adamawa State. Same story, overloaded boats, no life jackets, and no following the navigation rules. So those are the things that, you know, we just hope our people would learn, you know, and then we put systems in place to make sure that people do not endanger their lives this way.
Yeah, we lost 2 other men who were trapped in a diesel tank. This happened in Kano, Katsina Road in Kano. So they said they were actually employed to clean the diesel tank. By the time they got in there, they suffocated. They were trapped inside the tank. Before people realized it and came to rescue them, they had lost their lives already.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review this morning. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of today. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.